over there live to see what transpires on the floor of the House. But then to another story, where despite President Uhuru Kenyatta announcing that government had allocated funds towards revamping of tourism sector through hotel industry, very few hotels in Coast Region were able to comply with the laid down standards to qualify to get the funds. And that story was filed by my colleague of Taita Taveta, Hezron Kimari. We gave it to you earlier on, where hoteliers were talking about the challenges they've been facing. But then now let's talk about the harsh economic times for the country, because as Kenya's contend with the harsh economic times, the country's public debt remains a focal point for the country. Kenya's debt is currently standing at 7.6 trillion shillings. To help salvage the country from further sinking in debt, the man running the National Treasury, Kuri Atani, seems to have something up his sleeve. Is this just but a temporary retrieve?
Borrowing more in Kenya is becoming a concern by the day, a state that has seen the Treasury plan to legislate the debt ceiling up.
The interventions that we are going to make in supporting and sustaining our economy will be not only ordinary, but sometimes will also go beyond the ordinary measures. And that's why we are not shy from borrowing, but I've assured Kenya that we are only going to borrow concessionally, where we'll have an interest rate of 0%, we'll have an interest rate of 1%, or even 1.4%, because what choice do we have?
As of August 2020, Kenya's public debt stood at 7.06 trillion shillings. This, together with committed and disbursed debt of 1.35 trillion shillings, translate to a total public debt of 8.41 trillion shillings.
The IMF and the World Bank have stated that developing countries should not have more than 40% debt to GDP ratio. Now we are in the 60%. Now that's not very sustainable.
In pursuit of further credit facilities, Kenya has bowed to International Monetary Fund's pressure to include parastatals and county loans to the national debt, a move that went through the national debt ceiling, placing the new debt figure at 10.4 trillion shillings.
The only option we have is either raise taxes beyond normal or borrow concession to support the economy. And we've decided to have an opportunity that we borrow from the concessional window from the multilateral agencies like IMF and World Bank, so that now we are going to deal with it at a later time.
To mitigate the debt pressure, the Debt Service Suspension Initiative has been rolled out to ease the debt burden. After surpassing the first opportunity to get relief, with Treasury terming the terms of the initiative as too restrictive, Kenya will take a relief from the Paris Club, which was due between January and July 2021, saving the country 32.9 billion shillings in its debt repayment.
So I think that pressure in those, especially in the education and the health sector, have made it very, very important for these extra funds that are coming through the debt relief to be able to be plugged in.
Treasury Cabinet Secretary Ukuri Atani says this will give us the fiscal space to make the much-needed spending on the COVID-19 economic recovery strategy, especially in the social, health and economic sectors.
China does not extend that debt relief, and you remember there are some elements of Chinese loans that need to be paid this month. If that money is transferred towards paying Chinese debt, then it ends up really being not really entirely useful to the country.
Kenya has also applied for debt service suspension under the G20 DSSI framework for amounts estimated at 40.6 billion shillings due from 1st of January to 30th of June 2021 from non-Paris Club bilateral creditors. With next year's budget deficit being projected to hit the trillion shilling mark, with more borrowing being expected to fill the gap, the Controller of Budget has warned of an imminent debt crisis if the trend continues. Nokip Kimboi, KTN News.
Last story by my colleague Noakip Kimboi brings us to the end of KTN News Center, but Nicholas Sombo is up next with Law Mashinani, including that live coverage on how members of the County Assembly are going to vote when it comes to the nomination of Anne Kananu Mwende as the next DG, soon to be the Governor of Nairobi. My name is Brenda Zeda Radido. Thanks to the men and women behind the scene who make News Center success from Monday to Friday, including your viewers. Thank you so much for watching. Enjoy the rest of your viewing.